Single player is unbelievably diverse. There's a buzzsaw going on for this, sorry. Single player,
Is that one of the
yeah. I don't know. Should have put that in there. Yeah, chainsaw or something.
Hey guys, I'm TamTu for Zoomin Games here at Gamescom, and right now here with Joel from Respawn for Titanfall 2. How are you?
I'm great.
And how is Titanfall shaping up?
I think it's going really well. Yeah, it's finally nice to be here. We've been working on it for so long. We've been at it for 2 years, and it's kind of surprising to actually be at this point in the process and be launching a game again. It's really exciting.
So one of the most exciting things that is being added to Titanfall 2 is a campaign mode.
Yes.
Why?
Because single player is awesome. And yeah, we didn't have the opportunity to do it in the last one, and we were trying some new stuff. I think coming out of Titanfall 1, we realized, hey, now's the time, let's go ahead and do it. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all.
Yeah, because it felt like Titanfall was a very solid game, added a lot of fresh new elements to competitive FPS gaming. But after a while, you kind of saw all the maps and everything. How bigger is Titanfall 2?
As far as multiplayer?
Yeah.
I think, we heard, yeah, we were definitely listening to the community, and we realized that they wanted more weapons. They wanted more customization with their Titans and their pilots. They wanted more pilots. So we went in and we just started coming at it from that angle where Titans are almost like there's a Street Fighter quality to it. There's a counter to every Titan with another Titan, and also with pilots as well. So we really went after the visual language and trying to make things read properly so you can look at a Titan and tell what it's going to do to you or how to fight it. We went after all that stuff, and I think that was a big deal with the community, and they wanted that. They wanted better Titanfall multiplayer, and they definitely wanted single player as well. So we went in and undertook the challenge of taking all that was good about Titanfall multiplayer and trying to really work that into a single player campaign, which is, when we first started, it was crazy. You have this ability that the player has to just run across a map, super hardcore, high-speed ninja, wall run, do double jump, all this stuff. How do you harness that into a single-player world? And also, how do we build this relationship between the pilot and the Titan, which is something we really went after. But I think it all kind of is shaping up pretty well.
So going deeper into the campaign story, like as you said, now you have to explain why you have certain abilities. Like I'm guessing, like when you started with Titanfall, there's some base lore around it. Did you build off of that?
Yeah, we definitely built on the lore. I think one thing that one thing that came on as the story progressed and things, and how we had to design the main Titan BT-7274 in single player, which is like your Titan. We built a personality into it. We even added an element or a mechanic where you can converse with him and ask him questions and things. So you'll be in an area and you can kind of have this hint come up, and you can kind of hit him up for information on the environment, or in some cases we're actually adding bosses to single player where you fight them. And that goes back to the mechanic of experiencing multiplayer and single player. We'll bring these characters in and you fight them, and you get to experience multiplayer Titans as bosses and kind of hit it that way. But it's a nicer way to expose people to multiplayer mechanics in a more relaxed setting with a story and a lore that goes behind it. But the coolest part about the main Titan you play with in single player is that it's the militia's first Titan that they ever made. It's very special. It's not an IMC or Hammond Robotics style Titan. Those exist, and they're evolved in multiplayer and in single player, but this one that you hang out with is very special.
Feels very Pacific Rim-ish.
We do a little bit, yeah. We draw inspiration from everywhere. I mean, I think there's even a little bit of the Terminator in there too. He just has this personality and this wit about him. We didn't even take it too seriously. We tried to give it a lot of personality and let it be playful and let him say stuff that's actually funny to listen to.
So a lot of things carry over from the single player to the multiplayer, as you said. What are you showing multiplayer-wise at the convention this year?
Yeah, I think we're, right behind me, we're showing Bounty Hunts. It's 5v5. It's a mode where you have two factions that you can join. One faction can join up against the other, and you play against each other, in a traditional way. But there's also a neutral element, which is an IMC that gets dropped in as bounties. Both teams are fighting over those bounties. When you get a bounty, you get points as a player, and you can take that back at the end of every wave. They're these little, these mobile hardpoints, these yellow robotic four-legged things. They'll actually emote when they're open, like a bank, and they'll go over and you can deposit your points in there, and that goes to your team score, which helps you win the match.
I saw a lot of customization options. How broad is it this time around?
It's pretty huge. I mean, I don't know if I can go into numbers, but we added so many more guns on pilots, so many on Titans. There's some really awesome mechanics in there where you can just level up your weapon and really go with it, and you get to a point where you get some bonuses for going all the way and leveling them all the way up that we'll get into later. But there's something for everybody, and you can basically, the game definitely embraces your play style. You don't have to go do your play with weapons you're not really familiar with or you don't want to play with at that moment. You can really focus in on things and get really good with them and also level them up at the same time.
With the game opening up to another platform that it wasn't available on before, what advice do you have for new Titanfall players?
New Titanfall players, I mean, you wouldn't have had to have played Titanfall 1 to really get Titanfall 2. It's just made that way. I think if you had played Titanfall 1 and you were familiar with it, there's something for everybody there. We even do some cool, there's some little Easter eggs here and there when you're talking to BT where he'll actually mention fights in the campaign multiplayer from last time that you'll recognize. There are some familiar faces that pop up in the game as well. I think most of all, for a new player coming to Titanfall, if you actually enjoy the single player, get into it. Single player is made in such a way where every level has something completely different going on. So it's not your traditional shooter. It's got a lot going on. It's not just Titanfall multiplayer in a single player environment and cinematic moments. There's different mechanics that you have to learn in single player, and I think with that being said, if I was a new Titanfall player coming into it, I would start with single player. Let us introduce you to all these abilities that you can go nuts with in multiplayer and become a badass.
Right. So everything is set on a steady pace for release?
Yeah, we're in good shape. Things are looking really good. It's nice to finally be here and show the game off. And we're also doing the tech tests at the end of the week where people can help us come and break multiplayer and try to figure out, stress test it, get servers going. We definitely did a lot of work on that, and we will be watching it closely in real time as it's happening.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.